One of the things I can definitely say for certain, and you probably know this yourself, is that you're never really going to know how to set your vehicle up from the beginning. You think you know, but what you really need to do is use your vehicle for an extended period of time, see what works, see what doesn't, and then you can actually get things set up exactly the way you want them. And that's the thing that we're going to take a look at this week. We've got some really big changes ahead with Maggie. So let's get 4 wheels on the road and check it out. For those of you out there who are regular viewers of the channel, you may recall in previous videos we've taken a look at what we've done to the inside of Maggie. There's been a couple of different builds that I've gone through, and what I wanted to do today is just share the information in what I've done in this most recent build, and hopefully it gives you some inspiration yourself and maybe some ideas on what you might be thinking about doing for your own vehicle. So one of the first changes that we've actually gone through in the beginning now, you may have noticed in the past we had a cabinet that was all the way across at the same height. But what I've done is I've done away with the Weber barbecue that we previously had here. And what I wanted to do was provide myself with a bit of a platform here to work with. So you would have seen previously that the Weber barbecue drawer was on the bottom here. And it turns out that I just wasn't using the Weber as much as I initially hoped I would. And it was just a bit of a pain in the butt to set up as well. I'd much rather just use my jet boil or something that's a lot simpler. I've got a little cheapy burner here. It's actually just much easier for me to use. So having the Weber barbecue was great in theory, but in practicality it really didn't turn out to be something that I was using all the time. So I decided that we'd do away with it. And the top drawer that I had, which was on top up here, is actually now moved down to the bottom. And what I've tried to do here is provide myself with a platform for 2 uses, one of which is to sleep on if I need to. Even though I've got the rooftop tent, sometimes the weather may be a little bit too harsh to sleep in the rooftop tent, or I might actually have another person that's with me who wants somewhere inside to sleep. So I just thought I'd sort of provide that as another option as well. And the other reason that I provided this flat surface here is just to actually store some things on as well. It's just much nicer while I'm filming, and this is something that happens to work for me personally. It might actually resonate with you as well, but I just wanted to have a flat surface just to throw bags, cameras, tripods. I have lost a little bit of space on the sides here. You would have seen from our previous video that I was able to stack things up all the way up to sort of window height and stack some things underneath. So I've lost a tiny little bit of height there, but what I've done is I've actually gotten rid of a few other little knickknacks and bits and bobs here and there that I wasn't using anyway. So it turns out that I haven't lost anything in terms of space, and I don't have anything that needs a space to go either. So I think we've done pretty well so far. As with previously, I've still got my drawer here and I've still got my pop-out table there as well. So nothing's in the way and nothing's really changed too drastically. All right, well that's things at the back of the truck. Let's pop around and have a look at the side. So one of the big changes now over here on the passenger side is that I've shortened up the storage that was here. It's now only around about 25-30 centimeters across, and that's just enough to fit a couple of little containers in there, and also my little vacuum cleaner, which I'd leave in there as well. And what I've done is I've moved the refrigerator, the Engel, which was over the other side, it's now over this side. Now, another one of the ramifications of what I've done over this side, and it's a pretty big one, and we'll talk more about it in a minute, is that I've actually moved the inverter, which was underneath this particular cabinet here. I'll show you in pictures. It's now been moved to a section over on the other side, and it's something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time, and I'm absolutely loving it now that it is done, let me tell you. What I've done here as well is I've put my water over here on this side as well, as you'll see in your pictures here, and I've also got a little storage bag here as well. So what I found was I wasn't actually using all of that storage space, It was just something that was just extra, and it was just taking up so much space inside the truck that I just didn't need it. And what I decided to do was just make things a little bit more streamlined. You may or may not have seen in my other videos, all of these sections are all purpose built and they're all individual units. So there's 4 units that sit inside the truck. So if I was taking 1 or 2 out, what I really needed to do, and it just made good sense to do so, was just take all of them out if I was taking 1 out. So that's what we've done. So what I've now got as a consequence on this side as well is tons more space underneath. So things that were sitting inside this large storage space here have now got some space underneath to live. So I haven't lost anything there. In fact, I've actually gained a bit of space underneath by not having that inverter sitting there. All right, well, let's head around the other side and take a look at that. So in terms of changes over this side that have happened now, we did have previously, as you'll see in your pictures here, the battery set up, and it was around about this height, sitting just behind the window here, and it ran almost all the way up to the seat here. And the big part of why I wanted to move everything as well, and it's probably the major part and the most major reason of any of the reasons for changing everything around here, was this particular unit here. We've got the cabinet here and it's divided up into a couple of sections. At the rear you would have seen where I've got the drawer, and at the front here I've now got my BCDC, my inverter and both my batteries, and all of my wiring is all contained in the one section. And it's something that's fantastic and something that my good friends down at Greenslopes Auto Electrics have done for me. So let's take a look now at what we've got in terms of the space in here. What I've set up here is a little open section where you can actually get in. And as you'll see internally here, I've got the BCDC set up here, I've got the inverter set up here, and you'll also just see under the part of the cabinet that I've actually got sealed up, you've got one lithium battery, and behind that is the other lithium battery. All of my wiring and fusing and everything is all accessible here through this little part of the cabinet that opens up. So that's fantastic. And the guys have actually left me some space in the middle as well. So I've got a couple of different bags here, a little bug out bag and a little first aid bag here as well. So in a place where they're really handy and I can get access to them whenever I need to get to them. So something that's super, super handy. I may actually put the rear part on a hinge at some stage, I'm not actually really sure, but I don't actually need to get into there at any stage because all of my fuses and everything are directly here and directly on the other side here as well. So I can get access to any fuses or anything I need to get to really, really quickly. So it's all set up really well now and I'm really, really pleased with it. In terms of space underneath here as well, I've now got a lot more space underneath because, as you would have seen in the previous build, the BCDC was sitting underneath here on the front of this cabinet. But now that we've actually got all of that space free, we've got a ton more space here. The other thing I have moved as well is I've changed the speaker around, and the speaker itself sits sort of behind the chair itself directly. So it's kind of cool to have that sub pulsing out the bass beats while you're listening to some tunes. So what I've got here now is a really long space, so I can store whatever the heck I want in here. A couple of different containers. I've got a couple of different containers which can sit here. I'm probably going to at some stage add some mounting brackets, little D-shackles on the side here and possibly up on the side of this container here as well, which can be used at various times, and I can just cinch stuff down if I need to. But we'll work on it in the future. It's not really sort of written in stone yet. All I did was just basically set it up, and this is the very, very base setup where I've just kind of thrown everything in right now. And as I mentioned previously, the major party piece here was all of this electrical now being in the one section, and that all runs from right here all the way to the front. Lithium battery, BCDC, inverter, and a little bit of storage in the front. So it's set up really, really well now. All right, well, that's going to be it from us this week. I just wanted to give you a bit of a tour through and show you the changes that I've actually made to Maggie. Hopefully it's given you a bit of inspiration yourself on a possible build that you were thinking about doing for your own vehicle, and hopefully it's been informative. All right, well, once again, I really do appreciate you all watching, and we'll see you next time we get 4 wheels on the road.